Hey guys, I am Black Ops Amazing. So today we are going to be taking a look at all of the intel from people trapped within the dark ether. Radio messages, documents, information they give us about their experience being trapped there. And with this, we can also learn what may have happened to the fate of the transit crew. Not only them though, but other characters we know who are trapped there, being Dr. Monty, the Shadow Man, anyone who was still alive to be banished back to the dark ether at the end of BO4. From listening to the experience of these random people trapped within the dark ether, we can also learn what happened to the characters that we know. So I'll play you the audio logs recorded by these survivors within the dark ether, and then we'll come back and talk about it after.
Is anyone out there? Can anyone hear me? I do not know how long I have been here. There are no days to count, only an endless twilight, like a dream that keeps shifting whenever I try to focus on it. There are some strangely beautiful sights here, great glowing gems, luminous creatures that float on the mist. But beauty means little when you're always being hunted. I should never have gone near that shimmering light. I should never have touched it. I thought it was a sign from God. There is no God here. There is no God.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, it is me, Mariska. I do not know if my words reach you anymore. I do not know if you care at all about the damned. For that is surely what I am. Damned. And I just want to know. Why, Lord? What did I do to end up here? It is not the hell I expected. No lake of fire. Only a cold, perpetual half-light that somehow seems even worse. Dead men wander this land, feasting on the living. If you can call it living. And I fear they may be. Lord, they are coming. I beg you, protect me. Deliver me from this place. I should not be here. I should not.
Okay. Think it through. Reason it out. I've met quite a few others who got trapped here like me. And every single time, the question comes up. Are we in hell or not? I mean, sure, this has to be hell, right? There's dead people, the demons. I feel as far from God as you can get. I even thought I saw ghosts here. But now I'm thinking maybe they're just folks back home, and somehow I'm seeing them through the veil that separates our worlds. Which brings me to the thought I just can't get out of my mind. What if there is no hell? What if this place is just a place? What if people came here before and got out? And that's how we got the whole idea of hell in the first place. I mean, that should give me some hope, right? It means you can escape. Then again, maybe hope is part of the punishment. Maybe hope is the ultimate cruelty.
I hope someone out there can hear this. I'm not quite certain this device even works. You see, I'm an historian. I was touring ancient sites in Peru when it all went dark. Suddenly, I'm in this jigsaw landscape. This hodgepodge of creatures and artifacts, like a collision of cultures and eras. I've seen medieval structures alongside 21st century buildings. I've seen ancient storybook creatures and mechanical monsters straight from a science fiction novel. And the thought I cannot seem to shake now is that the universe has a dumping ground for things that go bump in the night. Others I've encountered assume this is hell, but it's worse. It's the dustbin of history. It's the rubbish dump of time. When the universe is through with you, this is your final stop.
Confession time. This one's gonna sound a little nutsoid, but stay with me. Please, stay with me. So, I've noticed that ever since I landed in this place, well, I've noticed some changes in me physically, and hey, I am not crazy. Do not call me crazy, but mentally, too. It's bad enough when my skin started to wither. I look part alligator. My nails are growing like crazy, and my teeth. What worries me more is how calm I am about it. I mean, at first I panicked, but the more I change, the less I mind. Plus, I am not as afraid of things I run into. Don't judge me. Don't you fucking judge me. I've eaten one or two of them. I gotta eat something. Anyway, I don't know if it's the fog or those glowy crystal things, but this place changes you. Not all at once, but I don't think I could go back now, even if I knew how.
So those were audio logs recorded by 5 random survivors within the Dark Aether: Johannes, Maraska, David, Alice and Barbara. There's also a 6th audio log which is called Approach, where when listening to it we seem to hear some kind of creature moving about in the Dark Aether. Most of the survivors speak about how they ended up here. Some of them believe that where they are is hell, however, not the hell they were led to believe. This isn't the hell they had heard of in stories where there would be a lake of fire. Instead, they are trapped in this never-ending twilight. Of course, we know where they are is the Dark Aether, but they don't know that. Johannes, while being stuck in the Dark Aether, describes it as having some strangely beautiful sights, some great glowing gems, luminous creatures that float in the mist. The gems, of course, are the Ethereum crystals. The luminous creatures floating in the mist, I would assume he is talking about the jellyfish that we see in the sky. One of the other survivors, Mariska, talks about dead man wandering the land, feasting on the living. Those dead men she's describing are the zombies. David talks about how he's seen demons and even ghosts. Alice thinks that this universe is a dumping ground for things that go bump in the night. So of course, we know all of these creatures are trapped within the Dark Aether. There are humans, zombies, ghosts, demons as they describe them, elder gods and other monsters, apothecon-like creatures, all trapped together in the Dark Aether. But the most interesting audio log comes from the last one, who is Barbara. She says, "So I've noticed that ever since I landed in this place, well, I've noticed some changes in me, physically and, hey, I'm not crazy, do not call me crazy, but mentally too. Bad enough when my skin started to wither, I look part alligator, my nails are growing like crazy, and my teeth. What worries me more is how calm I am about it. I mean, at first I panicked, but the more I change, the less I mind. Plus, I'm not afraid of the things I run into. I've even eaten one or two of them. I've got to eat something." From what she says, Barbara has been trapped in the Dark Aether for so long that she's begun to physically and mentally change. Her skin has begun to wither, she now looks part alligator, her nails are growing like crazy, and her teeth, well, I would imagine they've grown as well. They've gotten bigger and sharper. Barbara looks nothing like her former self. She has changed. And that's what the Dark Aether does to you. Everything that gets trapped within the Dark Aether for a long enough amount of time changes, contorts, and eventually will look drastically different. So we don't know how long Barbara has been in the Dark Aether, but it's long enough for her to now look part alligator, have super long claw-like nails, and razor-sharp teeth, along with withered skin. And what's even more interesting is she says the more she changes, the less she cares. She's even eaten one or two of the creatures that would usually try to kill her. More than likely she's talking about her eating the undead. But that's fascinating because if we move over to the documents which you can find in the Dark Aether, there are 12 of them, and through these we learn the experience of other survivors. However, this time we find out how long they've been trapped in the Dark Aether for. So the first couple of documents are mumble jumble letters. These are people attempting to try and transmit their messages within the Dark Aether. But the first one we can make out reads, day 13,773. Keyboard finally functional, screen still hit or miss, must retest internal components, make sure nothing is fried. Still not sure if this thing is transmitting, at least I graduated from pen and paper, which is harder and harder to come by. Will continue transmission attempts, have plenty to broadcast my journal of survival. I hope someone is listening. This message is very important because whoever is transmitting this, they've been trapped in the Dark Aether for 13,773 days. That is 37.7 years. If we track that back to the end of Black Ops 4 when everything was banished to the Dark Aether in Tag der Toten, that map took place in 1965, so plus 37 years on that date. That would take us into the early 2000s, yet Black Ops Cold War Zombies takes place in the 80s. So was this person trapped in the Dark Aether before Tag der Toten? Have they been trapped here since the 40s? Anyway, so that is the last document from this person, but going to the first one they ever put, it was day 95. Trying hard to keep track of how long I've been here, strange fractured land. Food and water not easy to find, but have enough for now. Ammunition more of a concern. Distress call, best hope for rescue, will start gathering electronics. Saw some while looking for food. No idea if I can build transmitter, but must try. The next one is day 175. There are others here, trapped like me. No time for their madness or sorrow. They usually get picked off before long anyway. We are low on the food chain here. Creatures prowl this place, so I avoid them too. They can be killed, but gunshots attract more, so discretion, better part of valor. Still have food stockpiled, but cannot last forever. Eventually, I'll be forced to hunt, and nothing looks remotely edible. Yet. Day 213. Hard day, lucky to be alive. Observed group today sheltered in warehouse structure. They were arguing, did not notice approaching pack of plague hounds. I did something stupid, I ran off to help. Did not know these people, did not want to, but I could not turn away. Shot 4 dogs before people grabbed their weapons, warned them to exit the warehouse. The dogs were inside before they started shooting. Pulled one out, gas claimed the rest. Then the one I rescued ran back inside. Not everyone can be saved. Day 937. Gathered lots of electronics. No success constructing transmitter, some gear seems very old. Other components unlike any I have ever seen. Wish I could find instruction manual. Also, finding shimmer and weak spots where this world seems to overlap with home. Attempted to pass through, but could not. Still caught a glimpse of what looked like Southeast Asia. So close, yet out of reach. Must keep trying. Day 1108. Attempts to pass through weak spots yield limited results. Managed to lengthen glimpses of home into brief visits. Location is different every time. A jungle, a village, a glacier. I wander unseen, like a ghost. 10 or 15 seconds, then pulled back here. If only I could get someone to see me. If only I could ask for help. Day 1646. Saw something new today. Something big. Tall as a building. Walking through the fog. Difficult to see. Kept my distance as it passed. I heard talk from others that giants roam this land, but dismissed it as madness. Heard one call them elder gods. Thought I catalogued all creatures here on their pecking order. I was wrong. Day 2873. Latest visit home lasted close to 30 seconds. The world changed while I was gone. Was in a military base. Watched soldiers communicate on equipment like the electronics I have gathered over here. Saw how it was meant to operate. Returning to transmitter project. Attempts to consume local vegetation yield poor results, but I am subsisting now on creatures that otherwise would try to eat me. Strange satisfaction in that. Day 3289. The longer I am here, the fewer creatures pursue me. still see them take down newcomers, but me, they tend to ignore. Unfortunately, more powerful creatures seem to have taken notice. Not sure why. Do they see me as a threat? I try to avoid them, anyone would. There are things here worse than any nightmare. Day 6121. New devices turning up, machines filled with beverages. At first distrusted them, seemed like a trap. Waited for others to consume what they had to offer. Results, beverages not only safe to consume, but have some profound effects useful for combat. Machines even play music while dispensing. Not sure if someone is trying to help, or just messing with my mind. So this person in the documents has been trapped within the Dark Aether for years and years, for a very long time, and throughout the journey of him being here, we learn of his multiple different experiences, from pretty much day 1 of him being here, up until day 13,773. And just looking at some of the things that happened to him, in the beginning, on day 175, he talks about how creatures prowl the place, how they are after him, tracking him down, but some of them can be killed, notably the zombies. But by the time we get to day 3289 and he's been trapped in the Dark Aether for many years, he says, the longer I am here, the fewer creatures pursue me. They still take down newcomers, but they tend to ignore him. Unfortunately though, more powerful creatures have now taken notice. It's like they see him as a threat. So for some reason, after being trapped in the Dark Aether for years, the zombies are ignoring this person, and now higher creatures, higher powers, such as elder gods, have begun to take notice of him. They now see him as a threat and are trying to kill him. But why, after being trapped in the Dark Aether for some time, do the lower ranking creatures here, zombies, ignore him? Could it be that he's changed because he's been trapped in the Dark Aether for so long? He's physically changed. He looks nothing like his former self. He no longer looks like a human, so the zombies aren't attracted to him. And because of that, because of how he looks different and more menacing, more dangerous, the bigger creatures are now trying to get him because they see him as a threat. He doesn't mention himself changing, but that is what happens when you're trapped in the Dark Aether. And from this, we can probably get a good idea of what's happened to the Transit crew. They were banished to the Dark Aether back in 1965. Black Ops Cold War Zombies takes place in the 80s, 1983, so the Transit crew would have been trapped in the Dark Aether for almost 20 years. We can see what's happened to other survivors after being trapped in the Dark Aether for years, so you can just imagine what's happened to the Transit crew. There is no way they will look like they did the last time we saw them. Just like Barbara, they would have definitely changed. Maybe they've got alligator tails, withered skin, sharp teeth, long claws, tentacles, wings. Basically, the Transit crew are no longer the Transit crew. They will not be human anymore. And that also goes for anyone else trapped here. The characters that we play as in 5, JFK and the crew, they ended up surviving. So if they were banished to the Dark Aether, they'll no longer look like how they did. The same goes for the Call of the Dead cast and all of the other characters we've played as, besides from Primus and Ultimus, because they are dead. They aren't trapped in the Dark Aether. But everyone here that we've played as would have been trapped in the Dark Aether for so long that they look alien. They would have become monsters. And that's if they aren't killed by the zombies before that. If they do manage to survive the undead, when they change and contort, they'll then have to come against more powerful creatures such as the Elder Gods. And in D Maschine we can actually see one of the Elder Gods roaming the land. If you take a closer look at this monster, you will see half of it is made up of humans. There are people attached to this summoner's body, presumably people of the Dark Aether, so maybe, just maybe, a character that we know is a part of this monster, or they've become a monster themselves. So there we go. That's what happened to the survivors of the Dark Aether. As always, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.